Hi, you're welcome to our chemistry class again. This is chemistry 2 element 2. We want to continue where we stopped at in the last element. But here, element 2, we are looking at the D block element, transition element. Now, don't forget that the transition elements are found within the D block, and the D block is between the group 2A and group 3A. That is, it's between the S block and the P block. So we don't just have group 1, group 2, group 3, group 4. After group 2, we have series of 10 rows and 4 series of 10 columns and 4 rows. 10 columns and 4 rows from here down to here. They make up the D block. However, we'll be talking about transition elements. Transition elements are found within the D block, but they are found within the 10 columns through to the 3rd row. I told you down here you may be talking of radioactive elements. So we have transition element 30 in number. And what are transition elements? Very unique. Transition elements are elements that have partially filled d orbital. What means? Instead of having the d orbital filled, we will jump the d orbital and first fill the s orbital. For instance, we expect that the 2s subshell or orbital is higher than the 1s. So you fill the lower one, 1s first before the 2s. Now, the 2s is lower than 2p, so fill the 2s before the 2p. Now, 4s and 3d. 3d comes before 4s, but we'll fill the 4s first before filling 3d. But in Arabia, we have 3d. After 3d, then we'll now go to the 4s. So what we'll do is we skip the 3d and go to the 4s and fill the 4s first. Then whatever is left, we'll now give it to the 3d. And that's why most time the 3d orbital is usually not completely filled. And that's what makes elements that fall within this region transition element. And you will begin to see some unique characteristics that separate them from the normal elements. Number 1, let's go. Transition elements, these are elements found between the S block and P block elements in the periodic table, between the P block, S block, and in between. I said they are found between the group A, 2A, and 3A element. So they occur between the group 2A and group 3A element. Transition metals or elements are elements with partially filled d orbital. Their d orbitals are not usually completely filled. Very important. They are called the D block elements, yes. But don't forget, not everything within the D block elements, within the D block, not everything is transition element. The transition element is between the first, is found within the first 30 elements. The rest, we'll be talking of radioactive element. The D block is a series of 10 vertical rows and 4 horizontal rows. 10 vertical rows and 4 horizontal rows. The transition elements occur within the 10 vertical rows and the 3 horizontal rows. They are 30 in numbers. They are classified into 3 series. The first row is called series 1, first series. The second row is called second series, and the third row is the third series. You can see it from here. Now it means that the first series here is found within period 4. The second series is found within period 5. The third series is found within period 6. So we have them. So the first series are found within the period 4. They include scandium, that's the first one, followed by titanium, vanadium, chromium, manganese, iron, cobalt, nickel, copper, zinc. These are elements of the first series, transition elements. Now let's talk about. Now, in the second series, you see elements like silver, we have molybdenum, and we have palladium. In the third series, we have elements like platinum, gold, and mercury. Now let's look at the characteristics of transition elements. Number 1, they have variable oxidation state. You know that the oxidation number of hydrogen is +1. Oxidation number of oxygen is -2. That's all. But in transition metal, you will begin to see copper 1 plus, copper 2 plus, iron 2 plus, iron 3 plus, titanium 4, titanium 6, and like. So they have variable oxidation state. For instance, you see that copper 1, again, we see copper existing again as copper 2. Look at iron, we have iron 2. We see iron existing as iron 3. Now take note, the only group, the only element in transition elements that do not exhibit these characteristics is zinc and scandium. Zinc exists only as group 2 element, group 2, zinc 2 plus. There's no zinc 3 plus, no zinc 1 plus. Scandium also exists as group 3. And this is the question, the kind of question that IGCSE WAEC will be asking. Which of the following element does not exhibit transition states? Or which of the following transition element does not have variable oxidation state? If you have zinc there, correct. If you have scandium there, correct. So all transition elements have variable, they have several different oxidation states except zinc and scandium. They only have one. Another characteristic number 2, they have partially filled d orbital. And I want you to take note of this. They have partially filled d orbital. Let's take for instance, we have scandium, titanium, vanadium. That's scandium 21, titanium 22, vanadium 23. That's atomic number. Chromium 24, manganese 25. Now let's take manganese 25. If I want to take manganese 25. So let's see how we feel it. We come here, the maximum electron that S orbit can take is 2. This S again, 2. The maximum that P can take is 6. We have used 10 out of 25. This 2. The maximum S can take again is 2. That's 12. The maximum P can take is what? 6. Now we have 2 plus 2, 4 plus 6, 10 plus 2, 12 plus 2, 18. Now, you will not feel this d orbital. The maximum d can take is 10. You will not feel it. You will jump to this place and feel this 2. So we have 2 plus 2, 4 plus 6, 10 plus 2, 12 plus 6, 18 plus 2, 20. So we are left with 5. The remaining one will now come to the d and feel it. So you see that it's not up to 10. That is what makes transition elements unique. They have partially filled d orbital. So you go feel the 4s first and come back to feel the 5d. So you can pick any of this and try that. Now take note of this. They have partially filled d orbital. Another exception. Zinc has completely filled d orbital. You see again, zinc is still behaving abnormally. They have completely filled d orbital. Zinc. We'll do that. Scandium has no elements in the d orbital. Unique again. Because scandium is 21. If you add 2, 4, 10, 18 plus 2, 20. We have this. Now let's move. They form colored ions, except scandium does not form colored ion. Titanium does not form colored ion. Zinc again does not form any colored ion, and copper 1 plus. Copper 2 plus of course is blue in color. Iron 2 plus is greenish in color. Iron 3 plus is brown in color, and sometimes yellowish, light yellow. But these ones again are not obeying these characteristics of transition metal. Scandium, titanium, zinc, and copper do not form colored substance. Okay, number 4. Properties of transition elements or transition metals. They are catalysts. They are usually used as catalysts. For example, in contact process, the process of production of tetrahydrosulfuric acid, vanadium 5 oxide is used. Also in other process, the industrial process of producing ammonia, iron is used. And most times you could also use iron 3 oxide. And also in the hydrogenation of fat, that's adding of fat, vegetable oil. Nickel is used, as you can see on the board. Platinum is used as catalyst in the oxidation of ammonia during the manufacture of nitric acid, nitric 5. That's triazonitric acid. Number 5, they are paramagnetic. And number 6, they form complex ions. They form complex ions. And that's what I should explain what complex ions are. Now, a complex ion is a ion that is formed from the dative covalent bond between a central metal, which is usually transition element, and a ligand. Again, and I want you to take note of the 3 major or keywords in the definition. The keywords are dative covalent bond, central metal, and ligand. So I go, what is a complex ion? You will see that when we come to types of salt, when we'll be explaining complex salt. A complex ion is an ion formed from the dative covalent bonding between a central metal, usually transition metal, and ligand. A ligand. So you have something like Cu Na3, maybe 2, and you have something like this, 2 plus, or maybe 4, or you have Fe into bracket Cn6, then probably 4 plus. And I want you to take note. So this, you see, is called complex ion. Now you see that there is a central metal surrounded by this ligand. So if you have something like Fe, you have Cn, 6 of them, Cn, and they are linked this way to the center. And this is how dative covalent bond exists. This structure is a complex ion. And we have central metal covalently bonded or dative covalently bonded to this ligand to form the complex ion. Now, what's a ligand? A ligand is an atom or group of atoms that is electrically charged. Some may not be charged, and in which one of the atoms in the ligand donates a low pair electron to the group. Again, a ligand is an atom or group of atoms either electrically charged or not electrically charged, in which one of the atoms in the ligand donates a low pair electron for the bonding. So we have different types. There are different types of ligands. We have monodentate ligands, bidentate ligands, and we have polydentate ligands. Polydentate ligands can include tridentate, tetradentate, and pentadentate ligand. I go again. We have different types of ligand. We have monodentate ligand. Monodentate ligand are so we have this. So we have different types of ligand. Ligands will be CO, Cn minus, Cl, chlorine ion is also a ligand. So we have water molecule, ammonia molecule, carbon monoxide molecule, Cl cyanide molecule, chloride molecule. These are examples of ligands. Now, when ligands are bonded covalently to a transition metal, they form a complex. So let's not forget, transition element form complex ions. Now, take note, this charge that we have, the charge we have on this complex is called coordinating number. It's called coordinating number. It just shows us the number of the amount or the number of the centrally bonded atom found in the complex. This is centrally bonded, the central metal ion copper. So this is showing us the number of copper existing here. This is showing us the number of iron existing here. So this number here is called coordination number. So examples of complex ions are this: iron, or you have hexacyanoferrite. 3. And we have this, and we have this. These are examples of it. Don't forget, this is the central metal, this is the ligand. Central metal, ligand, central metal, ligand, central metal, ligand. Cobalt, zinc, copper, iron, they are all transition metals. So for a complex to be formed, transition metal must be included as the central metal and it must be surrounded by ligands. Now the number I have said that the number up here is called coordination number. Now what's coordination number? Coordination number is the number of ligands that is required to bond with the central metal. Again, coordination number is the number of ligands that is required to bond with the central metal. You can see it's 6. So this is showing the coordination number of the central atom. Okay, let's quickly look at it before we wrap up with what we have today. Difference between S block and D block elements. Difference between S block and D block elements. Now, number 1, of course you know that S block elements are metals. D block elements are also metals. Maybe I should have just said, oh, let's see their similarity.